This is going to be a comprehensive step-by-step implementation guide for building conversational flow agents inside of Retell. Now, we're going to contextualize this video to the niche of, let's say, a real estate agent working inside of a broker to give you guys a better example. And we're going to go ahead and walk you through every single component, how it works, and exactly how to go ahead and configure it. As we go through this 13-page document, we're going to break every single thing down that you need to know on exactly what conversational flow agents are and exactly how they work. We're also going to go ahead and transition back and forth between this document and Retell and actually build it in real time so that you guys understand every single step of the process. Now, if you are looking for a video on how to build single prompt AI voice agents, we actually recorded a video similar to that. We have a 12-page document like you see here, and we've recorded a video where we break this down. I'll go ahead and link that down below. And if you are looking to see exactly how you can build a multi-prompt voice agent, again, we have another 12-page document where we outline every single step, as well as recorded a video that breaks this down as well. So if you're interested in that after you're finished watching this video, please feel free to check them out. But for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and get started with exactly what conversational flow agents are. So if we go ahead and start from here from the top, we're going to start by understanding exactly what is a conversational flow agent. So a conversational flow agent is an AI-powered voice agent designed to handle real inbound and outbound calls. It does more than just speak. It intelligently navigates the conversation based on what the lead says. Some of the things that it can do is it can follow custom logic based on the caller's response. So depending on how the caller responds, you can build custom logics for it to respond to them appropriately. It can go ahead and engage in dynamic back and forth conversation, similar to how you would have a conversation with someone in real time. The voice agent, in this case, the conversational voice agent can have a dynamic back and forth depending on exactly what the individual is saying. And let me just kind of zoom in here to show you exactly what we mean by how it can dynamically go back and forth with someone. So you see here, you can add these different custom logics. So over here, it says for the transition, if the user says yes or shows interest, then have it do this. And we link it to what we want it to do. If the user is a bit hesitant, then you go ahead and have it linked to something else. So unlike a typical voice agent, okay, which just has a set of actions that it needs to do, okay? Like if your job is to book a meeting, right? In this case, this can actually go back and forth. And the way you can go back and forth is because we add these custom logics for it to actually go back and forth with the human. So that's an example of like the dynamic back and forth and how it's able to do that. It can send automated follow-up SMS. So in real time, it can go ahead and send SMS. You can see here, this is one of the nodes to send an SMS. It can transfer live calls to an agent if necessary. So if needed, we can transfer it to an actual human being. And then lastly, it can qualify leads, answer FAQs, and schedule appointments, just like a single prompt or a multi-prompt voice agent would do. Now, unlike traditional voice agents and bots, a conversational flow agent allows custom logic flow where the conversation changes based on what the caller says, which is similar to what we mentioned to you guys here. You can see here, depending on what the other person on the other end of the phone says, you can change how the conversation goes. Same thing here. You can see if they give you a budget information from the user, go ahead and say this. If they say no, you go ahead and do the following. And you can add these custom logics really anywhere within the actual voice agent. So that's exactly what they are. Okay, let's talk about a real use case example. So let's say you are working with a real estate agent named Sarah, and someone calls your phone number after seeing your ad from a listing. So your real estate agent named Sarah, you have a listing out, someone sees your ad and they go ahead and call you. So the agent would say something like, hey, this is Sarah, real estate team. Are you looking to buy or sell or rent a property? The caller would say, I'm looking to buy. The agent would say, great. Are you looking for a single family home, condo, or something else? The caller would say, I'm looking for a condo preferably. The agent will say, great. What price range are you targeting? The caller will say around 400,000. The agent will say, perfect. Are you working with a real estate agent already or not? The caller would say, no, not yet. And then the agent would say, excellent, I'll just go ahead and send you a property tour with Sarah. Keep an eye out on your message. So what it will do is it'll go ahead and send a message in real time, okay, to the actual person that's on the phone, okay? And you can see that by this right here, okay? So within here, we can add a custom logic. So let's say, for example, in this case, we ask them, are you already working with a real estate agent? So here, if the user says yes, reply back to them this way. If the user says no, then reply back to them this way. Now, in this case, if the caller just says, I'm just browsing, what we can do is we can have the conversational flow agent instead push educational content or invite them to a first-time buyer webinar or a VSL or really like anything that you would like. So you see it's very dynamic, right? So this is essentially like a use case. Everything is logical and adaptive. Okay, and you can imagine this is a little bit more robust than just building a single or a multi-prompt voice agent where you have a prompt, you have a knowledge base. With this, you actually have to map out the entire conversation, okay? So you could definitely charge a lot more for building a voice agent like this because what you're doing is you're building out an example scenario of exactly how a call would go, and you're mapping out all the different possibilities of how you want the call to go. So it's just a bit more detailed, if you will. So that's an example use case scenario. Now let's talk about how these actually differ from a single prompt voice agent, okay? Because, you know, it sounds the same, right? It's like it's a voice agent, it's answering calls, it can send SMS, it can schedule meetings, but it is a bit different, okay? And if you see here in this guide for the multi-prompt and the single prompt, we broke everything down. We broke exactly everything down and exactly how they work, the different functionalities. We're gonna do the same here and show you the difference between the two. So over here you have the feature of the voice agent, and then here you have for the conversational flow agent, and then here you have the single prompt. So when it comes to intelligence, the conversational flow agent follows a structure, adapted flow with decision logic, very similar to how we showed you guys here, right? It's very adaptive. If something, it's almost like coding, if this, then that, if you will. That's the intelligence when it comes to the conversational flow agent. With a single prompt, it follows one short prompt with a statistic response. So with the regular voice agent, it's like, you know, for example, like if we take a look here, you know, maybe for a single voice agent, you would have, you know, you are a real estate AI voice agent. You need to book a call with people who call and inquire about our services. Well, that's like a very specific and short prompt based on the outcome that you want the voice agent to do. Wherein with the conversational flow agent, there could be many different outcomes depending on how the conversation goes and depending on these custom dynamic logics that you add. So the conversational flow agent is definitely far more intelligent. Now, when it comes to custom routing, for the conversational flow agent, it can branch the convo based on caller input, yes, no, multiple choice, or open-ended. For the single prompt, there's really no branching. Responses are pre-coded into the prompt. Okay, so over here, you know, depending on how the conversation goes, in the example that we provided you guys here, if the agent says, are you already working with an agent? If they says yes, then we can have the agent change everything, change how the whole conversation goes, versus if they say, no, I'm not working with an agent yet. Right, if they're not working with an agent yet, then we're gonna go ahead and have them schedule a tour. Maybe if they are working with an agent already, what we can do is like send them some of our properties or send them some more information so that they can learn about, you know, maybe the properties that we have, for example. Now, when it comes to engagement depth, it can, for the conversational flow agent, it can simulate multi-turn human conversations. So when I'm speaking with you, and you know, let's say we're having a conversation and I stop mid-conversation to tell you, hey, you have, you know, something on your tooth. You know, you're gonna stop and you're gonna, you know, check and you're gonna see, okay, is it gone? So think of the conversational flow agent as like that, right? Like if we're having a conversation, if we break pattern, it will be able to go ahead and continue the conversation based on what exactly you guys are talking about. Wherein with the single prompt agent, it handles basic questions based on the FAQs and service level inquiries. So when you are building a single prompt voice agent, you're uploading a knowledge base. That knowledge base usually have some information about the business. Let's use the example of a real estate agent. You have a bunch of properties. Well, you'll upload that to the knowledge base, and in there you'll also have the time. You also have you know, your hours of operation. You also have the address. These basic information. So if the caller asked any of these questions that are in the knowledge base, well, the single prompt voice agent can reply back to it based on that exact knowledge base and based on the exact prompt. It cannot handle multi-human churn conversations. It can just handle based on the information that is provided. Wherein with a conversational flow agent, similar to how, like I said, if we're having a conversation about the weather and I stopped you and told you you got something on your tooth, that conversation stops, and then we're actually going to go ahead and you're going to respond back, what is it? Or is it already gone, right? The same idea applies here. You know, this conversation can take an entire 360 turn based on what exactly we have here within these custom logics. So let's just take a look at an example. In this example, if the user shows interest, let's see here where it takes them to. So the user shows interest. Well, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and establish genuine interest. So we'll go ahead and establish genuine interest. If they do not, then we're going to go ahead and collect information. right? So you can see here, if they do not, we'll collect information. And if they do show interest, then we're going to go ahead and establish genuine interest. These are different human-like conversation terms, right? Let's see exactly what the term here is: multi-human conversation, okay? So depending on the response, it either goes this way or it goes that way. So, the engagement depth is very deep when it comes to the conversational flow agent versus the single prompt agent that simply just answers based on the FAQs, based on the prompt, based on the knowledge base that you provided. So that's the engagement depth. It's really definitely more engaged, which you can see why you can charge a lot more for a conversational flow agent compared to a single prompt agent. And, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of videos out there, but, a lot of the folks online are just telling you, like, sell this for this much, right? And you can build it in 5 minutes. And it's like, yeah, there's definitely a lot more to this, okay? I'll tell you, you're not gonna be able to build this in 5 minutes. Probably might take you at least an hour, 2 hours. And even then, depending on the business you're working with, you probably might need to gather a lot more information, because you gotta think, like, you need to map out the entire use case scenario. You have to first understand exactly what the client needs. And then from there, you have to figure out, okay, what if someone says this? How do we reroute it? If someone, you need to have like the different outcomes understood. So it definitely will take you a bit more time to go ahead and build this out. Nonetheless, the next thing is the use case. So for the use case for the conversational flow agent, you can qualify leads, book appointments, and handle objections. Pretty straightforward. For the single prompt, it simply responds like hours, address, or brief explanation. So there isn't really, too much in depth when it comes to the single prompt voice agent, because it can't handle inquiries such as if someone asks a question that is outside of the scope of what the agent can do. Well, in the actual prompt itself, if you guys watched the video where we built the voice agent for the single prompt, in here we says, if you don't know the answer to a question, let the caller know that I'm gonna have to get back to you on that, or I'll have our team get back to you on that. Right, so it only is limited to the knowledge that it has is limited to the information that you provided within the knowledge base. Wherein with the actual conversational flow agent, there's so many things that we can do, and that we can do that thanks to these nodes that you see here. Right, we can send an SMS, we can transfer it to someone. We have the whole entire functionalities here. We have the conversation, so it has these nodes which we can break down and move the conversation in any other way. And we'll actually go over these nodes in a little bit. Then you have modularity. So with modularity, with conversational flow agents, you can build with nodes, conversation, logic, transfer, SMS, etc. So you can build it out using these nodes right here. Okay, that's the function of conversational flow agent. When it comes to the single prompt, it's really a matter of just writing one prompt, and then you have one agent. So you have one prompt that dictates exactly how the agent is going to conduct itself. Where in here, yes, you have a global prompt. You need a global prompt, but every single step of the conversation is individualized. So depending on what depending on how you build this, it's basically all broken down into its own components, right? Because it is custom logic. So you build it with nodes, you can literally have the conversation go any other way, wherein with the single prompt, it's just this prompt right here that dictates the entire agent itself. So that's how it differs. Okay, that's how it differs from a single prompt voice agent. So why does this matter for real estate agents or really any other niche? In my AI agency, we work specifically with real estate agents. The idea would apply with any business that you're working with, or maybe you are a business owner that is looking to implement this in your business. This is very important. Okay, so it's not necessarily just for real estate agents. But why is this important? Well, a single prompt is great for doing things like answering what is your address, do you work on weekends, or how do I get pre-approved? But a conversational flow agent is what you need when you are trying to qualify leads, discover buyer's intent, collect criteria such as budget, location, time, the timeline, book showings, route serious buyers to closers, and follow up via SMS. So you could see, like in our case, when we're building this for real estate agents, the single prompt is great, okay? But it's like, for our clients, they're most likely going to need a conversational flow agent because, let's say, for example, you have a voice agent that is answering all your calls. Well, if this voice agent is answering all your calls, we need to figure out like who's actually serious, who's calling us is serious, and who's calling us and they are not serious. Well, with a conversational flow agent, we can figure out what the buyer's intent is, because based on this, how this conversation is going, we can figure out like this person is actually interested based on the questions that they're asking, or based on the custom routes that the voice agent is taking them, versus someone who's just asking, asking about the time. right? So depending on how deep you are looking to use your voice agent, if you just need it to answer the calls, like that's great. But if you are looking to do any of the following here, a conversational flow agent would definitely be important, more important. In short, think of a single prompt as like question and answer. Someone has a question, you go ahead and answer it to them. A conversational flow agent could be your full sales assistant. And honestly, guys, like in right here, what we have is really just like a very simple breakdown of this agent, okay? You can actually really go much more detailed, okay? And you can build an entire like full AI assistant here for the business that you're working with. Right, you can get really deep depending on how the conversation will go. So this is really, it really matters. I think it's really important for a business that is looking to do any of these followings rather than just answering the phone. Now, if you are a business that like just can't get to the phone and can't answer the phone all the time, well, the fact that you already have a single prompt voice agent or considering is already a plus, because just answering the phone is already better than not answering the phone. But if you want to go a step further, having a conversational flow agent that can do all this is definitely more important. Okay, so now let's go over the agent global settings. Okay, so we're just now really diving into the video. Now that you understand all of this and how it works, let's go over the agent settings. So this is going to be the global configuration, which is going to be this part right here. Okay, so if you've watched the single prompt video or the multi-prompt video, you'll see a lot of this is the same because this is the global settings. So we're going to briefly touch on this. Before you build any logic, you need to configure the global agent settings. First is going to be the voice and the language. So choose the voice that you want. For real estate agents, we recommend, of course, like English if your clients are English. And then here you can go ahead and choose a voice. So in here you would choose the language such as English, and then for the voice you can choose a voice. What we do is actually add custom voice for our clients. So I would recommend you add custom voice for your clients and actually even charging them more. And the reason that is because if businesses already are calling your business and they already know how you sound, maybe they're repeat customers, it'll be great. But then also for your customers too, the fact that they have their own voice as an AI, like sometimes they find that cool. So you can also add a custom voice. If not, you can choose from any of these other ones that are readily available. The next thing is going to be the model. So you can choose the different model that you want. So over here you can check the model. Just understand that different models are going to have different pricing. Okay, at the time of this video, we just use GPT 4.1. And then here you have the global prompt. So this is the global prompt of like what this agent is going to do. Okay, so in this case, you can see this prompt that we built out right here. And same thing here, in your case, you would add the prompt in here. Okay, this is the global prompt. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. In this video, we broke down, we provided you guys with a ChatGPT prompt on exactly, you could take this ChatGPT prompt, throw it into ChatGPT, and it'll give you a detailed global prompt. But it's pretty straightforward. This is going to be the global prompt right here. Okay, so that is the agent configuration panel. We're not going to go over this part right here where we break down the knowledge base and the speed settings. I think we already did that in another video. I would recommend you actually go ahead and check this video out. You can see here the available functions. We went over the agent configuration panel. The global functions, we went over like end the call, call transfer, check availability, book on calendar, even the custom JSON files, we went over that. We went over speed settings. You can see here speed settings. Right, we went over speed settings. So maybe what I'll do is I'll link this video down below for you guys as well, this document. So speed settings, we went over this responsiveness, the interrupt sensibility, latency, we went over latency. Latency is very important. Latency refers to the time delay between a user's action and the system's response. So if someone calls your agent and the agent answers, how long does it take to actually respond back to them? We went over speech, enable speech normalization, reminder settings, pronunciation. Then we went over transcription settings. So over here you can see the transcription settings. Let's see here, is it in here? Speed settings, yeah. So I mean, this entire section, we've already went through it in this video. In this document here, in the Retell video, we went over every single thing, post-call analysis. With the post-call analysis, you can go ahead and scrape and extract certain information based on what the individual says, security fallbacks, and webhooks. So that's going to be this video right here. I would recommend that you check it out. It's a 42-minute long video where we broke down every single component. We're not going to do that in this video because I think you get the idea and you can refer back to that one. Now let's go over the core components of the conversational flow agents. Okay, this is going to be really important because it is these nodes that make up the agent that you go ahead and build out. And if you look here, these are all the nodes that we have here. So we're going to go over each individual one so that you know what it is. So that way, when you're building this out, you know exactly which node to choose. And this is similar to DaVinci Resolve. If you've used DaVinci Resolve to edit videos, I believe it's one of the only video editing software that actually uses nodes, at least in Fusion. So DaVinci Resolve Fusion, you use nodes, and that's the same exact idea here. So we're going to go over each one so that you know exactly what it means. So here you're going to have the node type. Here you're going to have the purpose, and then here you're going to have the description and use case. So the first is going to be conversations. And example here is, we're also going to provide an example here so that you know, like, when we say conversations, what can this, like, what would an example, what would the voice agent say as an example here? So here, it's like, what type of property are you interested in? Single or family or condo? So just a conversation, right? You would mostly use this, okay? You would use conversation. It's probably one of the nodes that you would use the most, okay? So here, it displays message and handles logic. The description is, this is one of the core of the flow. Use it to ask questions, collect answers, route basic logic based on the response. Basic logic based on the response. So that's conversation. It's going to be one of the most used nodes. Then you have the welcome node. This is going to be when you first get started, okay? So it's the first interaction point of the user. This is an example of this is like, hi, this is Sarah from XYZ. What kind of property are you interested in? Or, this is probably not even a good example. It's like, hi, this is MJ. How can I help you today? Hi, this is MJ. Thank you for calling MJ's Real Estate Group. How can I help you today? So it's essentially the welcome node. It's the first interaction point. This is the entry point of the call. It introduces the agent and starts the flow. Whatever you want to write here, you feel free to write it, but it's the first thing that someone will hear when they call an agent. Then you have the press digital. So that's this right here, press digital. For this right here, it collects DTMF input, keypads like 1, 2, 3, 4. So if, let's say, if you've ever called customer service, you probably have called customer service and they say, press 1 to talk to an agent, press 2 for listings. So maybe you have a bigger operation and you want to separate between certain things. Well, you can do that. You can do that with this function right here. This allows users to select options by pressing a number on their phone, okay? So press 1 to talk to customer service, press 2 to talk to electronics, press 3 to talk, right? If you've ever called any company like Walmart or Best Buy or any of these businesses, they usually will have something like this where they reroute you based on who it is that you're looking to speak to. Then you have the SMS node. So over here, the purpose is to simply send an SMS. This automatically sends an SMS during or after the call. So this is really great. For example, if you are on the phone with someone, if the agent is on the phone with someone and they say they're looking to book, well, in real time, it can go ahead and send them a link to a property tour, right? So for example, it'll say, great, so here's the link to our property tour. Check your calendar or check your phone and they'll be able to get the message immediately, okay? So you can add that in here by clicking the SMS function, okay? Then here you have logic split. So this adds conditional branching. It splits the conversation based on the criteria like the budget, location, or agent status. So for example, if a buyer says they want 1 million, it will go ahead and add them to the luxury flow, okay? Anything else would be the standard flow. So let's say, for example, you are a real estate agent and you have properties that range from $500,000 all the way over to over $5 million. Well, the $500,000 property is going to be different than the property that's $5 million. So what you can do is you can add a custom, you can add a logic split wherein you have an entire conversation based on people that want properties over 5 million, and then you have another entire conversation based on properties that are under 5 million, okay? So if someone mentions something, let's say you're asking them like, what is your budget, or your house you're looking for is around how much? If they say, for example, 5 million, well, you could have an entire conversation mapped out for that. And what you'll do is you'll have a custom logic split that will take that conversation that way. If someone says something under 5 million, you'll have an entire conversation that way, and you'll have a logic split that will allow that conversation to go down the other direction. So, that's just an example, but really the idea here is that you can split the conversation, okay, based on the criteria like the budget, location, or agent status. Maybe another great example, in the case of real estate is, let's say you work with businesses, like in the Bay Area. Okay, let's say you are a real estate agent in the Bay Area, and you help people in both the North Bay and the South Bay. Well, if someone says they're looking for a house in the North Bay, you can have a custom logic that takes them to conversation flow based on North Bay and vice versa on South Bay. So you can see, you can get really strategic with like how you go ahead and build this out. But this is the idea of a logic split. It splits a conversation based on a criteria. Next thing here, we have the function, and this executes a webhook or an API call. So it can send or receive internal data like publish and lead into a CRM or pulling properties availability. So here you can push details to go high level or CRM. For example, someone books a call, or someone, you just want to take some information from one place to the other using webhooks or APIs. You can do that with this function right here, okay? With this node called function. Next is extract variable. So over here, what this does is it pulls specific input from a user response. So used to extract saved data like name, phone number, or location. This is going to be the node called extract data. So you can extract variable right here. So if you want to extract someone's name, maybe it'll say, can I get your full name, please, so I can book this call? Someone provides you their full name. Here you can have this custom variable that says extract user's name. So it'll actually extract that individual's name and save it. Next, you have agent transfer. So over here, you basically just transfer it to an agent, transfer the call to an actual human, routes the call to a live representative when the lead is qualified or requests to speak to them directly. So someone says, can I speak to Sarah now? You can have them transfer them over. MCP, this is optional, rarely used unless integrating multi-mediums at once. This is multi-channel processing. Advanced setup handles data from multiple communication channels like SMS, voice, or chat if it's enabled. Basically allows SMS, voice, and chat all to communicate with one another. Honestly, I've never used this function right here, but that's essentially what that is. And then you have the ending node. This ends the conversation gracefully. It closes out the entire flow agent and a final message. So inside of DaVinci Resolve, when you're building, when you're using Fusion and you're building out these nodes, at the very end you have the output, right? And the same idea applies here. You need to have an ending node so that the voice agent understands this is the end of the conversation. And over here you can have a message, which is like, great, thank you for calling Sarah's team. Have a great rest of your day. Okay, so this right here, guys, is the core components of an agent. I think if you understand these, then you're already like 80% ahead. Okay, because after you understand these, it's just a matter of like playing Tetris, if you will, and mapping out how a conversation is going to go, right? So if you understand these nodes and how they work, then you just need to understand how do you want the conversation to go, and if it goes a certain way, how would you like to reroute it, right? And based on these nodes, you would be able to do that. Okay, so that's the core components of the agent. So now let's talk about actually building the flow. Okay, so to build this, I think what would be best is just to walk you through a use case example, okay, by showing you the different nodes that we would have. We already broke down all the nodes in detail so that you know exactly what each one is. So instead of sitting here and making this video 2 hours long, building this out step by step, we're going to go ahead and give you a use case example and go back and forth within Retell. First thing you need to do is the welcome node, okay? This is the first thing the caller hears. So over here you'll say, hi, this is Sarah from Next Home Realty. How can I help you? So to do that, you're simply just going to go ahead and choose a welcome node, okay? So you'll come in here and you will choose a welcome node. So you can see here, okay? So hi, this is Kelsey from South Bay, blah, blah, blah. This is the welcome node, okay? It's going to be the greeting. Then here you have the transition. So someone might say, I want to schedule a showing, qualify show and intent. So I want to schedule a showing. Here you can qualify the show and intent. I'm just looking, you can ask warm-up questions, or I need to speak to an agent, you can do a live call transfer. So depending on what someone would ask, right? You know the business, maybe it's your business, maybe you're working with a client. Depending on what someone would ask, you would have the conversation mapped out to that specific thing. For example, you can have all three of these, okay? And if someone says, I want a showing, or I'm looking to, schedule a showing, here you can qualify showing intent. Great. When were you looking to show? When were you looking to come in and look at a property? What property is it? Are you looking to buy now? Are you looking to buy later? Right? So if someone says, I want a showing, you can have the conversation go this way, which is qualify showing intent by asking a set of questions. Okay? And you would have that based on this logic split, right? So if this, then that. So you can see here, if this, go to this conversation. If that, go to that conversation. Let's say someone says, I'm just looking. Well, here you could have a warm-up questions. So someone says, in this case, I'm just looking. You could send them down this route, or if they say the first thing that we said, which is I want to schedule, you can send them down another route. Here you're going to ask warm-up questions. What are those warm-up questions? Well, that's something that you would figure out based on your business or your client's business. I want to speak with an agent. Here, maybe you might just have a live transfer and then it ends there. Okay, so that's with a welcome node. Okay, it's going to be the first thing, and then from there you're going to have transitions. Then you have the conversations node. So let's say someone, for example, says they want to choose this. Well, you're going to need to add a conversation node that answers that. Okay, so the conversation node, again, is going to be the node that you're going to use most of the time. So these are follow-up questions and responses to the welcome node. So for example, you could say, awesome, can I ask, are you currently pre-approved or looking for a mortgage? So let's say you chose this transition. Well, in order to ask qualifying intent or qualify the intent, you need a conversation node. Same thing with ask warm-up questions, you need a qualification node. If you're transferring the call, then you just choose transfer the call node, okay? Nonetheless, you're gonna use a transformation node, okay, to go ahead and answer any of these questions. And here you can use variables to extract the responses. So you can use a variable for pre-approved status, desired location, move time frame. Maybe you want to extract any of these different variables. Well, you can do that. Okay, and you do that by using this option right here, which we mentioned, which is a extract variable right here. Okay, so remember, this pulls specific input based on the response. Okay, so let's go back to here. So yeah, you can use any of these variables to extract the response. Then you have the transition node. So each node needs a transition based on what the caller says. For example, the caller might say, I'm not approved yet. Well, here you can send an SMS node with a mortgage broker referral. So transformation node is to transfer, right? It's transferring from one place to another. Someone says they're not approved, you want to send them an SMS. Well, you would have a transformation node here. And in that transformation node, you would send them that SMS. So the condition here is move time frame includes soon 30 days, route to high priority path. If desired location matches your market, for example, Sacramento, then mark it as qualified. So you can add different conditions, right? And this is how you can figure out like a buyer's intent or how qualified a buyer is. It's based on these things. Maybe you're looking for the variable, which is if someone's looking to move soon or within 30 days, make them a high priority. Well, in this case, you'll know because you have this condition right here. Let's say someone is looking within a specific location. In case your market is, let's say, the North Bay and someone says Sacramento. Well, that's going to be someone who would be qualified. So as we mentioned earlier, like this goes in much more detail, and you can really qualify people based on these different variables that you use. They're all there. You just have to actually use them, okay, according to your business. And then here you have the press digital node. So keep in mind, you're not going to use all of these nodes. I'm just giving you an example of like how you would go about using these. Press digital node. So use this when you want to simplify order. So you can have it, again, press 1 for an agent, press 2 to get listing via text, press 3 to be removed from our list. Then you have the extract node. So depending on what someone says, you can extract certain things. So someone says, I'm looking in Elk Grove. Here, you could extract the desired location. So you can go back and look at all the people's location based on what they said. They'll have a list of all the different information. My budget is 600. You can extract budget so you can get an idea of exactly all the budget that people are saying. Retell will automatically try to grab this based on their intent. Then you have an SMS node. So use this to send SMS into an info after a conversation. So whether it's after or during the conversation, you can send an SMS, something like this, which, hi, this is Sarah from Next Home. Here's a link to property under 600 in Elk Grove. Then you have a call node transfer. So if the lead is hot, transfer the call directly, okay? So you can transfer the call. If based on the things that we mentioned above, you identify that a lead is hot, get them to talk to someone immediately. Okay, and you can have these variables in there where if someone says a certain word, or if someone is looking within 30 days, or someone's looking for a property within your specific area, you can transfer them in here. You would use a transfer node. And then lastly, you have the ending node. So end the call gracefully. So thanks for calling Next Gen Realty. We're here to help you anytime. Have a great rest of your day. So it's so hard for me to give you guys a detailed example of like building this out, because this can literally, like, there's 1,000 ways that you can build this out. It's all contextual to the business that you're building it out for. So I think this document, which you guys will have access to, will give you everything that you need, okay? Which, by the way, guys, if you want access to this document, along with everything else that you need to start selling AI solutions to businesses, or maybe you're a business that has these AI solutions or that wants to implement these AI solutions, I recommend you join our Skool community, okay? In here, we have everything that you need, okay? So, for example, all the videos that we upload are in here. If you're looking to build an AI agency or build an agency around this, we have every single video on exactly what you need to do to go ahead and do that. And we also have in here the actual documents that we go over. So everything will be in here, and it's free. You can get access to this absolutely free. So that's going to be linked down below. Nonetheless, this is the ending node. So let's take a look at an example here. Let's see here what we have. So example flow can be number 1, welcome. Number 2, the conversation, what brings you in today. Number 3 could be extract variables, extract their intent. If intent equals showing, ask pre-qualified questions, qualify, and then transfer the call. So if the intent is they want to show, ask pre-qualified questions. If they qualify, transfer the call. If intent is just browsing, ask their timeline to move, and then send them an SMS. That way you don't have to speak to someone who's looking for a house like 6 months down the line. Instead, figure out like when they're looking to move and then just send them more information. Send them some of your properties, send them some sales assets. Tips for real estate use. So again, whether you are real estate or any niche, you need to set fallback responses. If the AI doesn't understand, say, sorry, can you repeat that? Have human backup to transfer calls with high intent leads come in. Like relying on AI is good, but like you still need to have a human element to it there. Okay, if you are building a conversational flow agents like in detail and really qualifying people that are serious from people that are not, you should be transferring calls to an actual human based on those people that are highly interested, okay? Because no matter how advanced this thing gets, having that human element will still be a plus. And then lastly, track leads, lead data in your CRM via Retell integrations and webhooks. So you could track all this in your CRM, and you can do that by integrating Retell to the CRM of your choice or using webhooks. In conclusion, conversational flow agents allow real estate professionals to automate lead qualification, follow-up, and routing without losing personal touch. And again, this is regardless if you're in real estate niche or not. With smart prompts transitions to SMS, your AI assistant becomes a 24/7 sales rep. You now have a step-by-step blueprint on exactly how to build this inside Retell. This exact document, guys, is going to be linked in our Skool community completely free, along with this video and 50 other videos on everything that you need to build AI solutions within businesses. I hope this video was helpful. Please consider checking out other videos on the channel, like this 42-minute guide where we broke down how to build single prompt voice agents, or this 25-minute guide where we showed you exactly step-by-step how to build voice agents, except we did that inside of Go High Level. Check out other videos on the channel. Hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.